Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Jason from Straight Edge Knives. Hey, today I'm here with Jason Breeden again, and we're going to be talking about some prototypes. If you don't know who Jason Breeden is, he's a knife designer extraordinaire. He's designed for Condor, Spyderco, Tops, and he's got some new blades coming out here that he's going to share with us today. Jason, what do you got for us today?
Hey, Jason, good to talk to you again, my friend. Just wanted to give you a quick glance into something that's coming up, a little project that I was working on with a company called the Survival University out of Colorado. My friends there, Jason Marsteiner and Ruben Rodriguez, worked with them over since, I guess, early this year, maybe early spring time. We got together and started talking about doing a small batch of knives or line of knives that really fits the teaching style that they have at the school, and fulfills some areas that they feel not every knife fits. The other great thing about the relationship, with a little bit of history there, is that they really like Condor knives. Have used a lot of different of their models over the years in their teaching. So, when I brought up to them that, hey, I think I could help you design some things, and maybe even we could work with with Condor to do some construction for you. That's how it worked out, right? So we've got very close to the production models being out and available to the public. So I wanted to take time with you today, being the good friend you are, and working together with you to show you some of the the prototypes here, and just to kind of get everybody familiarized with what's coming out. Again, we can do this again a little bit later and have some detail updates on where you can purchase some pricing updates and things like that. I can tell you that there general construction on each one of the knives, and I'll show you the smallest one right here, which is the what we're going to call the Spirit, the smallest knife. But it all the two knives are going to be out of 1095 construction, and then the survival Genunting that I'll show you here in a minute, which I think is a really neat thing. Don't see too many of that out there right now in the market. Is going to be made out of 1075. So what we have here in the Spirit, just to show you, let the Spirit sort of be the launch model here of different things, and what I'll call common features on the knives. So each one will have a black micarta handle scale here, as you can see. Each one will have a through hole for a lanyard, and each one has a scraper section in the back, and is no rounding of the spine, so that you can use that in survival bushcraft situations as well, for striking and things of that nature, scraping. The blade on this one is sort of a modified, maybe drop point, clip point kind of thing, but the team at the Survival University wanted to include certain aspects in a knife that they weren't really finding in the market out there. And one of them was a thinner blade, which you do see in some of your more traditional Scandinavian type of knives, but not really a drop like this, so that you kind of get a good area in here. And you can see there's a little bit of a sweep. I don't know how well that'll come in
Yeah,
on,
it's
on the
just slight,
camera.
real slight, but it's there.
Right,
You can see it.
right. A little bit of a sweep there, which just, listen, everybody holds knives differently, uses them differently, right? So that kind of gives you a very a nice place if somebody wants to put their finger out there. I'm a I'm a big advocate of kind of knowing your knife in a situation where you maybe can't even see it. It's dark, or you're trying to do something that, feel how you've got it oriented in your hand, something like that. So, in a position where you can't really look, but you know where you've got it. The other thing, that each one of the designs you'll see has this little horn on it, right here. So each one of the handles sort of mimic each other. The Genunting obviously will be much different than um, the Spirit and the Courage that I'll show you here in a moment. But again, they share similar features, but with their own aesthetic to each one. Um, Really happy with the way these turned out, the finish, the fit. I think they're going to be a great line of knives. Again, you can see here, each one also has some additional beveling and chamfering that we put in the handle that mates up very well with hand placement for most people. I have what I'd say is an average size hand, and this particular knife here has a right at a 5-inch blade, and right at a 5-inch handle. So you have lots of very good grip purchase before you get, the tail of the knife. You can hammer with that scraper in there a little bit if you need to bust something. You have enough of it revealed, but yet you have a really nice wide handle for good purchase. A lot of rounding, and they feel really good in the hand. So
Yeah.
that is the spirit, Jason, right there.
Yeah, that looks really good. And that modified tip, kind of I guess we're calling it a modified drop point. Like it looks, I mean, to me that it looks like it's going to add definitely to the tip strength durability, but also like if you had to get in there and pierce a hide or something like that, it might be a little bit easier to get into with that modified point than it would be with your traditional drop point.
Absolutely. A little bit of drilling action. Yeah. I mean, you have a strong enough tip, but yet thin enough to pierce correctly. So very happy with that. And I'll show you just the sheath for that as well. So we designed it. Each one will come with, this is a prototype, so it'll look a little bit different than this. But I can share some of the ideas. Each one will come with 2 ferro rod holders so that you can stick your ferro rod through that if you want. Each one will be a row or a series. We're going to change a little bit about how the nylon interacts with the Kydex, so that you can actually drop the nylon off. And I'll just take this one off quickly to sort of show you here what we're thinking. So here's the spirit sheath in its raw form. We will, like I said, future models will not have this slit. They'll actually just be a row of hole space so that you can mount a tech lock or
Oh,
some other, lash it however you want. But you will have this slot here that come up through. But you can see, I mean, very strong. Condor did a great job on the quality of these. And like I said, the only thing we're changing is some of the hole placement and universal size and shape of that sheath so that it's common. You can see the next knife I'm going to show you, the Courage. So, very similar, hard to tell any difference between them except just bigger. But we'll make the same changes to it as well. And going to that, so here's the Courage that's coming out.
real quick, Jason, on the 2 ferro rod holders, is that so you can carry 2 rods, or is it so you can carry like one long rod?
One longer one. So the guys at the Survival University, Jason and Ruben and their whole team, a lot of them they like 1/2-inch ferro rods, bigger, kind of make their own, buy the material. So what we want to do is have 2 of them spaced apart, and it gives the user flexibility when you purchase this. If you only want one, you have a shorter rod, maybe that you want to put over it. We also sized them so that and I came up with a little design there so they'll flex, but you could put a 3/8 in it, a 1/2 inch in it, different sizes. And then just the way it's constructed, a lot of people put a lanyard or some way to retain that small band that gives them that option too. I'm really big on giving the end user a way to, create and change, the design to fit them somewhat. Always say give them the right tools and they'll do the rest, that fits their type of construction. Also, like, these sheaths, we put a thumb release on them right there so that you kind of got a really nice way of pulling that out. I mean, even this
Yeah.
small one, I mean, if you wanted, you could carry it in a neck knife configuration. You have plenty of lanyard holes, and with the webbing, it also gives the user a way to come up maybe with their own interface webbing if they want to make one or do something a little bit different, right? So everybody likes to modify and work on their stuff at times, so that gives
Yeah.
you some options.
That's nice when the company gives you the option to be able to do that, because sometimes you get something that's really rigid and you're like, this just doesn't work for me, and it's a pain to try to modify it, and
That's
it's
right.
nice to see the thumb wrap. I mean, I almost feel like the thumb wrap should be integrated in every Kydex sheet now, because once you start using a thumb wrap to pop your knife out, you don't want to go back to anything else.
Absolutely. That was one of Jason and Ruben's, they had several things that they asked me as I was designing. We would go through pictures, I would send them, my initial thoughts were something very similar to this. We had a little bit of a different edge profile on this knife, a little more belly. And actually the original prototypes, when they came in, they said, look, some of the things that we want to do with the knife, it doesn't work, right? So we pulled that back a little and came up with this shape and design. But most all of the features are there for a reason. I mean, even like I said, even this little horn that I sort of put on there, just it's sort of an indexing feature. It gives you a place to rest your thumb and finger if you want and get very close to the edge. I'm an advocate of just my own training and working with people over the years of bringing the edge very close to the guard or to the handle material. I don't like a big space as much as I used to years ago. So, you can get up there very close and you don't have a lot of torque when you're doing different types of work. So, but then the Courage is a much larger. You can see it's a 6.5 inch blade. Basically looks like the same knife, except you can see across the top, and I'll try to step out here and let it shadow against the wall a little bit, but up here, it's a more sort of almost a whale back. It's a little bit rounded instead of, arced in this particular knife. So it really gives it that feel of a very good thick knife if you're chopping or batoning. And you've got this larger knife with you. This thing will really do some work. But then the way the geometry comes out here at the end and the belly and the spine interact with the knife, you have a very still small, nice, not a very high tip. So you can pierce well with it and do work, different types of work there. Again, it has all the same features, the scraping or if you needed to, sort of hammering butt, but it's not so, it's not so pronounced that it creates a bad point in your hand if you have to push against it, to force with two hands into something. So, we tried to kind of make the best of different worlds. And again, what Jason and the team at the Survival University do to teach, we very much want to incorporate features that they will use in their school. So,
yeah, those both look like great knives. I mean, I'd want them. And I'm a big fan of 5 and 6 and 7 inch knives anyway. So those are definitely in my wheelhouse for sure.
right. Well, and this, so kind of give you an idea here of the two, size and scale. And some people may say, well, that's, not much different, but it really is. When it comes down to, a quick knife, I like to trail run a little bit and get out, and hike, quick hikes, maybe where I don't have a lot of gear on me. A knife like this is still very secure in the woods to do a lot of chores, especially in a situation that you find yourself in you weren't expecting. But definitely, yeah, for long range or going out for a period of time or knowing that I'm going into an area where I have no familiarity, that I'm going to spend some time, a bigger knife like this. And like I said, the difference doesn't seem dramatic maybe, but there is some shape profile difference to the knives. So they make a good, accompaniment to each other as well, right? This is a really nice, almost kitchen, what I call kitchen type work knife, all everyday sort of chores. And then this is really a brute,
Yeah.
as far as being able and the thickness of the material to really, handle heavy work if you needed to.
And when you hold them up like that next to each other, you can't, at least on my end, I can see the subtle differences between them. You know what I mean? I could see that little swoop on the smaller one and the tip differences. So, I think when people watch this, they'll be able to see those differences if I can see it. So,
Right.
but
Yeah,
yeah,
you have a familiarity with the handle, as
yeah,
well. That's kind of nice. Even though the handle is scaled bigger, let me hold them like this. So you can see here that, still the handles are almost, just scaled up versions. I had to pull some of the geometry out a little differently and do some things, but for the most part, they're feel the same in the hand, right? Or familiar, I'll call it, when you're using them. But and I know we're winding up on some time, so I want to make sure I get to this guy, right? So when I started my discussions with Jason and Ruben, and actually Jason brought Ruben in as kind of his all things sharp guru, right? Ruben, we talked about some different things that are out there and different types of knives and blades and things that are in the market for survival that are larger, right? So machetes, you have all kinds of different tools, different sizes, more traditional shapes like a large Bowie knife, or choppers that are thick, handle much heavier chopping. We wanted something that sort of did it all. And Ruben's background in martial arts and survival training and different things, working with the the Survival University over the years. He said, "Why don't we do a Ganunting?" And so I started playing around, really doing some research with the Ganunting shape, especially the handles, and being a traditional Filipino, um, what I'll call a really survival tool, right? Because it's very agricultural. I know that these are used by some of their military forces or carry Ganuntings in the Philippines, and is also a very good martial arts, defense tool as well. So when you think about survival, all those things come into play. Um, Needing to protect yourself, to create a shelter, so many things that you need to do. So
Yeah.
we thought the Ganunting would be a really neat thing that the market hasn't seen, and would offer some unique and new ways that they could incorporate that into their school and their teaching. So this is what we came up with. And so, Jason, you can see, I'll give you some idea there against my hand and size of the thickness of the handle, the shape profile. Very excited about the way this thing turned out, and for me too, just being a guy that does everything from trim stuff out in the yard. Don't have any neighbors visible to me where I live, so I get out quite a bit and hike around and build trails on my property and things like that. So this thing has been unbelievable. So many different grip positions on this thing, so you can grip it very close to the guard, and you can see still have quite a bit of room left in this area of purchase. You can slide back sort of a middle grip and really get a hold of the belly here in the handle, and grip tight. It also still has the chamfering, if you can see that with the light play there a little bit. So a very good place for the palm and the back of your hand to rest, and makes it very comfortable and feel good. Um, you can choke back on this thing and start to sort of even whip with it, smack with it a little bit. And you can see here from a distance, it is a 16-inch blade, Ganunting shape, pretty, what I would say, traditional, right? With the way the tip flows out. It does have an arc pretty much all the way through it, but there is a straight land area in here so that you can do work if you're, maybe scraping or pulling or shaving with it somehow. You have that. This tip is extremely strong here, and yet very thin in regard to some other types of heavier bush, knives and things. So it will penetrate, but it retains its strength because of the way the thickness is carried all the way to the tip. So
Yeah.
we're excited about that. I think they've been out using it and abusing it too at their school quite a bit. The last thing, Jason, is if you look, and I was working down the handle and got off on the blade there. Sorry about that. But you can see there's all these different grip positions that basically is just up to your own mind. I mean, I've even held the thing like this, and kind of, to reach out or to cut something or to try to pierce something and grab it. And then also at the very end here, you have this scraper end, which can also act like a very, very nice hammer end if you need to really strike something, or, even for defensive purposes, would really, create an issue there for someone. So
Yeah.
the other thing we did, it's a little different than the other smaller knives, is as you can see, there are through eyelets to hold the handle in place. And I like that because I know that there are people out there who maybe sometimes like to put a lanyard up closer on a longer, or on an axe on a longer blade, so that, if it comes out of the hand, it's above the wrist coming in. You can put lanyards at the back, if you wanted to lash this off or do something with it. I like giving options, right? So we
Yeah.
thought that was a way to do that. I'll just show you on this too, try to zoom in there, the Survival University symbol will be marked on there. And then also, again, like I said, Condor is making these, so it'll say El Salvador there on the finished ones, stating that, where it's made. So, and then here you've got a picture, kind of look at the sheath. So the other thing I didn't bring up earlier is the sheaths are ambidextrous. Okay, so I like that too. I'm right-handed, but I like to always remember our friends left-handed, or people like to carry
That'd be
sometimes.
me.
Okay, there you go. Sometimes people too like to carry something like a knife this size, or short sword machete on the opposite side of the belt, and they may want to flip that around depending on how they want to draw. But you can see it's got 3 straps here that will come through. Again, you can take this whole nylon piece off, and if you want to just lash this to a pack or something like that. And I think we're also going to work on some attachments that will go along with this, and it will come with 2 ferro rod holders as well. Again, I didn't get a full set of them, but if you can picture there the ferro rod holder. The other nice thing is you can actually even incorporate one of the smaller knives into the sheath if you want to dual carry, right? So part of the system with the different catches and the way that we did things is to just kind of give people a way if they want to lash those together, or tie them off together, you can do that. We didn't come up with a particular system for that, just because, again, sometimes people feel like that's very restricting or it does things. We just want to give some good generalized spacing, make sure the whole eyelets layouts are right for different, like a tech lock or different things you might want to use to attach it to your belt personally. There is a snap here, to make sure that you kind of get that extra grip versus just the Velcro. And then up here, you also have a snap on this particular model as well. So, really nice. Everything turned out very nice, heavy duty. Um, it's it's been great working with those guys. They're I think very good at what they do. Had a lot of really good input, and we're excited to see these come out and get them in people's hands, start doing stuff, right?
I'm
So
excited too, man. Those things look awesome. The very versatile. I mean, obviously for any of the bushcraft type of stuff. Or I'm not a bushcraft guy, but I could totally see myself using those for any of the number of silly things I do with my knives. You know what I mean? So, and like that Gununting, I mean, with the thickness of it, I mean, that that could be like a heavy brush knife, a heavy brush machete, if you will.
oh yeah.
Which is, I guess your imagination is going to be your only limit with on how you use that thing.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it's and that is part of the reason we did it too. Is I said, look, a lot of machetes are designed for jungle applications, and we live in more hardwood forests things, here in North America, and where Jason and the team teach there at the Survival University. So this, I think, like you said, it's not maybe the traditional flexible type of blade you'd see on a machete, but more of, like you said, a very good hardwood short sword. As you can see here, you can even, sort of choke up on this thing two-handed, and you have really good purchase. I mean, really no hot spots when I've used it, almost like a double-handed sword, and really get into chopping with it, or if you're out towards the tip and you need both hands for stability to sort of reach out, um, it works well for that too. And there is that milled in, um, sort of ricasso blood groove there that, I think just adds another touch to it, really gives it some character. And helped a little bit with, the balance of the blade and some things when Ruben was looking at it. Definitely he was very, very particular about it maintaining its quick action, and the hand, and for all the things that it can be used for from a martial arts standpoint.
Awesome, man. It's nice seeing. Excuse me. It's nice seeing. I like seeing larger blades come out into the market that are usable. You go down. There's certain catalogs you can look at that have tons of those type of things, but the second you touch something with it, it's going to bend, snap, break. They're more
Yeah.
decorative pieces. So I like it when I see companies coming out with hard users, like stuff that's actually usable.
Absolutely. Good materials, common materials, nothing space age, 1095 and 1075 on the larger Gununting. And again, to make it so that it's strong, it's sharpenable in the field, all the things that they practice and preach in their own school and teaching, they wanted that to be, a part of the character of these designs. And if this goes well, I mean, I think we've been talking about maybe there's some other things that we can bring in, to the fold of a series of knives with them. So stay tuned for that. And also I'll get you in touch, once we get the production going, and definitely like to get Jason and Ruben on with you as well, and they can give you some additional insights and some updates on after testing, and maybe even do some filming with you out in the bush there a little bit to show different things that they do with their knives, and the way that they teach and instruct at the school. So
That'd be awesome. I mean, because I'd love to, you know, do a video with those guys, just because I would love to learn some of these skills myself, because I don't have any traditional training or anything like that. A lot of the stuff that you see me doing my videos is just stuff an average guy does, I guess, if you will. So it'd be cool to actually learn some actual skills,
yeah,
instead of just being just the guy out there hammering away with a knife.
and
So
having a reason for it, and these knives, like I said, not just as a selling tool or aesthetic, but truly, they had some real vision behind the things that they wanted to do, and make sure that those features were incorporated. So to hear it from them, it'll be, far more enlightening, and they can really share the depths of what they can do with it. So we're excited about it. I appreciate you having me on today, to give you a little update. I do have some other projects I think you and I are going to talk about coming out too, that are related to some other groups and companies. So, touch base with me here soon. I'll give you one little snippet, just a new whisper. So that's on the horizon, and
nice.
yeah, so keep a lookout. Added some extra features to it. Some really neat looks to what we're doing with that. So uh, keep in touch, and we'll
Oh,
bring you up to date on that, and a new series I'm doing as well. So Jason, I appreciate it. Look forward to talking to you again soon, and we'll keep you apprised of all the new things coming out. Got some new Condor models coming out as well this year that I've been working with them on. So a lot of exciting new things happening.
I know
And
I still need to get my hands on some of those other ones you got out, so I can
yeah,
do some
we
videos
do.
of
We need to
those.
do the Zero and the some of the mountain pass and mountaineer
Yeah.
trails. So yeah, let's get to working on that. We'll get moving on those too. So
Sure. Well, hey, I thank you for taking the time to show us some of the new stuff coming out. Greatly appreciate it. I am going to put links down to the Survival School University in the comments below in the description, as well as a link to Condor as well. And
okay, great.
for sure, when this next series is ready to go, you're ready to show them off, man. We'll do another video and give everybody the preview of that as well. And again, I thank you for taking the time to show us this, and let's start getting the ball rolling, the excitement rolling, if you will, for these blades coming out. I think a lot of people are going to be excited about these, especially with the materials and the design features that are built into them. So
Thank you, my friend. Well, you have a good day, and we look forward to showing you more soon.
cool. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. We'll talk to you
All right,
later.
you too. Bye bye.